All right, we've been doing MMA history, and we're going to look back at a fight with Conor McGregor taking on Nate Diaz. This was the fight. Look, Nate Diaz was already well known, but this is the one that put him over the top. And we're going to look at why, and we're going to talk about this fight while it's going on because we can. Right, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it's up on YouTube now, so we're able to pull it up. We can actually get you guys to sync with us. There's those descriptions down below. There's a link there. You guys can click that and follow along. But the bottom line is this. I ain't surprised, motherfuckers.
Yeah, surprise.
Oh, shit. Greatest line ever. And this is really, honestly, I know there was stuff that led up to this. You know, you're working for, you're taking everything I've worked for. Those kind of lines made this fight possible. But it was just the way this fight, John, turned out, the way it all came about in that first round and then getting into the second round and just saw the tide turning. And I know that when you were watching it, you were probably on the edge of your seat going, shit, man, what is going on? I mean, what were you thinking when you saw this fight?
Honestly, it was, I didn't say anything about the fight because I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. Then when I realized I wasn't, I said, oh, I'm glad I get to sit there because I think Nate Diaz is going to beat Conor McGregor in this. I really did. I had that feeling in that I thought that Nate was a problem for him as far as he had a chin. He was tough. He would take shots and he would keep coming back. And if it ever hit the ground, I thought Nate had a huge advantage. And so at the time, I wasn't surprised, motherfucker.
Well, hey, guys, if you guys want to follow along, we're just going to kind of do a quick little recap on the fight. This is a very exciting fight. It's actually a fight in history that I think is going to be around forever. And this is really what catapulted a lot of things into star power, a lot of these fighters into star power. And if you guys want to follow along, guys, just pay attention because I'm about to use John's famous line. Let's get it on. All right, so we just pressed play, and we've got these fights going, and they are squaring up in the center. You got Herb Dean in the middle. John, what is going, like, this is so standard for you guys.
Yeah.
I know this is standard for you guys to say what you're going to say. Keep it fair, keep it tough. I never fucking listen to you guys. As a fighter, I never listen to you guys.
Trust me, we don't want to do that. We're made to do that, so it's like, yeah, all right. Production crap, they want that crap.
I always felt it's kind of weird, the announcer, whether it's Bruce or somebody else, doing the little reach around. I thought it was a little weird.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You ever feel like they want to tickle you a little bit? You want to tickle the balls a little bit too while you're down there? So great.
Just reach back and smack them.
Speaking of slapping here, I mean, Nate's already coming out with some heavy hands here and also opening the hands a little bit. John, when I was watching this fight, and actually when they made this fight, I was thinking to myself, Conor's going to make sure I think Nate can handle the power. We know he can handle the power. But I had seen the fight with Chad Mendes, and he seemed like he blew his wad against Chad Mendes, and Chad then started to get tired, and he was able to start unleashing power. I also knew that on short notice, Nate Diaz, even though he is someone that smokes weed, does all these other things, he still trains. He's always training is where I'm at. I thought the distance of Nate in the first round, he was having a hard time with the speed and the accuracy of Conor.
Yes. Yeah, Nate had a real problem in that when Conor would come in, he would feint in and get Nate to start to lean a little bit forward, and he would react off of that and land a clean shot. And in the beginning of this fight, Conor was in control of it by controlling the distance of what they were able to do. But and he kept on going after trying to land that big left hand, and that was the biggest problem for him. Is he kept trying to land the big shot instead of just touching. He was trying for the knockout. He wanted to prove that he could knock him out and get rid of him, and that led to him having problems later on in the fight, in my opinion. Yeah.
I also, as I'm watching this back, and John, I've only watched this fight back maybe one time, and just in talking and conversation with some friends that wanted to watch it. But I'm watching it now, and I'm thinking to myself, he's missing a lot. Conor's missing a lot of shots because of the reach, because he was really trying to land that straight left, and that makes you even more tired. Yeah. I'm watching exactly this. He's missing a lot, and that's making you more tired. Yep. Yeah. And so this is opening my eyes a lot more of how this all happened, because as Conor starts to get more tired, that constant pressure he's trying to put, like he had done to so many other guys. He thought he was going to be able to push them around. He thought he was going to be able to fear them, make them fear him with his power and his movement. And then him being southpaw definitely opened up his career a lot. It made it a lot easier for him to attack a lot of these fighters because a lot of these fighters are not used to dealing with someone who had such clean stand-up and was so accurate with the power that he possessed as a southpaw. They're hard to deal with. If you're someone that's not used to fighting a southpaw, they're hard to deal with.
But as you're saying, one of the things I think that caused Conor problems in this fight was that Nate is a southpaw. So he was facing someone, so things that sometimes landed for him were not landing at times. Now, right there, that was a beautiful straight left hand over the top. And you take a look at, he's not expending a ton of energy as far as movement or anything like that, but you can see him trying to land hard shots. You see him throwing with a lot of power at times. The kick right there, he put a lot of steam on that shot right there. And so that's the kind of thing that when it's not landing, boy, it takes a lot out of you. And this entire fight right there, he came with the uppercut. The uppercut was actually blocked, and then he missed with the right hand. I think, his use of using his kicks, especially the way he uses it as a jab towards the midsection, really works well for him. But he was unable to land any real body shots on Nate throughout the fight.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
A lot of head hunting.
We're at 103 of the first round. There's still 1 minute, 3 seconds, or a minute left now in the first round. I look at it and I agree with you. But also, I feel like Conor, he really expended a lot of energy, almost like reading his own paper clippings. He started believing his own hype, started believing the fact that, like, hey, I can get anybody out of here. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that he made against Nate, because he was letting everything in the kitchen sink go. Beautiful sweep, though, by the way. When people said that Conor McGregor didn't have grappling, that right there proved to me that he did. And I was like, oh, wow, nice sweep. Good job. Like,
it was
Nate was comfortable.
Everything that he did right there, you look and you go, hey, that was technically well done.
Yes.
He didn't sit there and accept anything. He kept that distance and kept that position by moving him and making him light. And he's doing, look at the hip position right here. He's being heavy. That's a nice job on top. He lets him roll underneath. It's okay.
Great. It was a great first round for Conor McGregor, but you could tell when he got up. What I normally look at for fighters when they get up after that first round is how do they look? He looked flush in the face.
Yeah.
It was
and you watch his diaphragm.
It also, if you look at the diaphragm, you've been telling me that for years. I look at, does their face look flush? Does it look a little bit pale? It almost like the weight cut got to him, or he just didn't rehydrate properly. But look at his face. Right now, they're getting ready to come back out. His face looks a little flush, like it doesn't have the full color back. That lets me know that he expended a lot of energy, and he's running on fumes right now.
Yeah,
and all these spinning kicks.
And not every time Conor does the flashy kicks, most of them they're ineffective for him. He doesn't really land them.
Yeah,
and so he likes to do them.
I look at it as like good. Something. Does he just use that? Does he use that to keep the distance? Is like, hey, fear this because it could come, and then kind of just keep the distance?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at what he's doing right here. Again, missed. There was nothing landed there. And so that was the one time he went to the body, and you can see he starts talking about it. He goes, oh, yeah, you felt that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was headhunting throughout this entire fight for the most part, and normally he attacks the body really well.
Yeah, we're at 405, 404, 403 of the second round. Beautiful spinning back kick. Didn't really land, but they hit him with a nice left hook. Another straight left off of that. I mean,
that left was nice.
But here's the thing. Conor needs to, for me in this fight, Conor needed to slow back a little bit. He's pushing so much action, and Nate doesn't need to. Nate's like, I don't need to push this action. You're coming at me, so I'm going to stand my ground. He doesn't need to push this much action. He was landing his shots. He could have kept landing his shots. And so it started I started thinking, I'm like, man, he's expending a lot of energy. Can he fight this way for 5 rounds? This is a pretty damn fast pace.
You just take a look at his shoulders, the way they heave up. That's telling you he's breathing hard. Now he's having problems. He's starting to feel it right now. And there comes a point where he gets touched. He keeps on trying to throw that heavy left uppercut.
Mm-hmm.
Goes
He
right
stepped
back
back. He
to
took
it
a step
again.
back right there, took a deep breath. That spinning back
Yeah.
kick was ill-advised. And then Nate just touching him. Now you see Nate filling the groove. He's bouncing on
Right
his
there.
feet. We're at 259. Pop, pop.
There he just slapped him. And right now, Conor's in that position. His heart rate is up there, and that's why he's getting touched right now. He's not as quick. The speed is starting to diminish.
When you fight Nate, I've fought Nate. So when you fight him, like you have to be. You don't feel. I felt he wasn't fast, but I also felt on the end of those couple of those jabs, they're stiff and they're hard. I was like, oh, he doesn't hit hard, and then he hit me with a stiff jab. I was like, oh shit! It kind of felt my jaw go back into my face and hit him with a nice combination. Now you got Conor wheeling
Right now,
backwards.
he just got hurt right there. Conor got stung with those shots, and now he's fighting off the. We talk about fighting off your back foot. He's not going forward anymore. You know why? He's tired and he's stung, and now he's trying to gain some space, and there's no space because Nate is now on him. He knows. Oh yeah, I got you. That was a little Stockton slap for him, and you know Nate now is talking to him.
Absolutely
He's getting touched by everything.
I got one combination out, and he was talking to me. So of course he's talking to him, especially after the way that Conor put it on him for the first round, and now he's bringing it back. He's like, I got this. And John, I'm be honest, man. I started seeing him after probably about 2.5 minutes of the first round or second round. I started seeing Nate just kind of relax, almost like he caught his second win. And he's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Conor trying to dig deep right here. Great combinations, though. Uppercut, then the straight left, 2 straight lefts. And then there you go, straight left again from Nate.
That was a beautiful left hand he landed. Now you see Conor McGregor shooting, and this is, if you're Nate Diaz, you're going, oh, no. Now you want to wrestle? You know. There's only one reason a guy who's a stand-up fighter starts to do that. And now into S-mount, he is just starting to light him up. Nate knows, oh, you are all mine. Look where the hips are at.
Understood it all. Look, I want to be honest. That original takedown attempt from Conor led into that guillotine, which changed the way that he tried to pass. And when that happened, he got him into that guillotine. I've been in that guillotine, not in our fight. I did a grappling match against Nate Diaz a long time ago. He was younger. I want to say he was like, I don't know. I would say he's probably early 18, 19, maybe 20, somewhere around there. Anyways, it was a long time ago I did a grappling match against him. I got stuck in that guillotine 3 or 4 times. I was able to wiggle out. But they got put on quick. They are tight. And he hits it from different positions, different angles that you're not used to because of the length. And I don't know what it is, but John, for some reason, he was able to get under my chin like it was nobody's business. He was just whoop, right away. I've been on the mat with countless top-level black belts, and it just didn't seem to matter. He was able to get his forearm underneath my chin every single time. And I got lucky, man. A couple of times I was gurgling, but I was like, I'm not losing this. And I ended up losing anyways. It was a ref's decision, and I was at the Gracie tournament. Who did you think was going to win in a ref's decision? But it was overall.
I'm going with you.
Yeah, he was tight, man. He's a fantastic jiu-jitsu guy, and it really, really. What is Conor? What do you think Conor's thinking, though, after that? Nate came in on short notice, didn't have a full camp. That's the guy I got to fight again if I'm going to rematch? I don't know, man.
If there's one thing that I've always looked at Conor and I've appreciated it, if someone beat him, he wanted to go back at him, and look, Nate impressively beat him. You know, Conor won the first round, and Conor was winning a small portion of that second round until that point where we talked about. I said he just got hurt. From that point, Nate Diaz was taking that round. He took it away. Even if it didn't finish, that was going to be Nate Diaz's round. And so Conor, he was in there with a guy that he realized, hey, that guy beat me. There's no doubt. But he wanted to come back at him, and, pretty quick he did. He said, no, that's the fight I want. I want it at the same weight. And you got to be impressed that, he didn't sit there and make real excuses over it. He said, he gave him credit for, what he did. But I want another shot at him. I can beat him. Okay, that's great. You believe in yourself. And then it was UFC 202. They went back and did it again.
I look at this fight and I think it was a fantastic fight, but I think it opened up a lot of people's eyes to Nate Diaz's potential to sell a fight. And I know Conor was already a star. And
no doubt about it.
And I knew that Nate had a big following. But this was not shortly after. It was what, a year or two, I don't know, maybe a year or two later, year and a half or whatever after, when Dana tried to say that that he wasn't a needle mover.
He didn't move the needle.
And this fight right here and the fight before this that really put him in here on show notice, I always felt that, not that they didn't like Nate Diaz, they just knew that he would take a fight, and for Conor to have a name like this on his resume or a notch on his belt would have catapulted Conor even to a bigger star or celebrity, which would have made them more money. I just felt like Nate came that night and just was not going to be beat. It was 5 rounds. What he does probably better than most. He has great cardio, great conditioning, pressure, take a shot, deliver a shot, and as that fight goes on, he just really starts pushing you and moving you backwards. And I thought Nate fought a fantastic fight, man. Got to tip your hat to him. You got to let everyone know how damn good he is and how he is such a needle mover.
Look at anybody that says Nate Diaz isn't a star, you're lying. He is, and honestly, this is the fight that pushed him over the top, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of people, as you said, there was a lot of people that are Nate Diaz fans before this fight. But there was a lot of people that became Nate Diaz fans because they weren't Conor fans and they wanted to see the guy that was going to beat Conor. And as soon as Nate was that guy, they all jumped on the bandwagon and they have stuck with him and they made him a needle mover, which he is to this day.